Welcome to the Wisdom for Life podcast with David Baker. David was a former paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division and for over 30 years has been a preacher. He has written 5 books and is an Amazon #1 best-selling author. He is the chaplain at the county jail, pastors a church, and is the father of 11 children. Yes, 11. This podcast is here to give you wisdom for your family, your marriage, your children, your finances, your health, and your life. And now, the host of Wisdom of Life podcast, David Baker.
Hello and welcome. This is David Baker, your host of Wisdom for Life podcast. Welcome. We are so glad that you're here. As you know, we'd like to give you wisdom for your life, your family, your marriage, your finances, your health, your country. Wisdom is knowing what to do and having the power to do it. In every situation, God, give me wisdom. God, give me wisdom. All right, first we want to learn you something, teach you something that you may not know. We'll have a joke for you, something we love, something we hate, and then we have a gift for you today. So the main lesson is going to be wisdom for your marriage, and the title is, What If My Spouse Does Not Want to Fix Our Marriage? So be some helps in that. Housekeeping, make sure if you have a question, email me, askpastorbaker@gmail.com. askpastorbaker@gmail.com. By the way, on a previous podcast talking about the King James Bible, I was talking about the symbol for the New King James Bible, the triquetra. And one of the things I failed to say, when you look at that symbol, all right, when you look at that symbol, it is, it's really big and important to know, it is 3 6s all put together by the tail of it. Okay, that triquetra that is supposed to symbolize the Trinity, we showed you that it wasn't. It literally is a 666 all tied together. Now, boy, if you want to symbolize the Trinity, why in the world would you use a 666 to be able to do that? So I wanted to make sure, I thought that later, I said, boy, I never added that in. I was going to come back to that. And so, anyway, if you ever have another question, feel free, ask Pastor Baker at gmail.com. Also, please give us a 5-star review and let us know you appreciate being here. And also, you can find us at YouTube, Wisdom for Life Podcast. You can find us at YouTube, Wisdom for Life Podcast, and also wisdomforlifepodcast.com. And follow me on Facebook, David Mark Baker. You can follow on Facebook at David Mark Baker. All right, we want to learn you something, as they say in the South. So here's an interesting thing. The longest name in the world, the longest place name in the world is 85 letters long. 85 letters long. Okay, you ready? I'm getting ready to pronounce it. Okay, no, I'm not. It's in New Zealand, 85 letters long. Taumata, and that's all I'm going to read, okay? You can search that, Google it, look it up. The longest place name in the world is in New Zealand, 85 letters long, okay? The good thing is, in the U.S., the longest name place in the U.S. is only 44 letters. 44 letters. It's a lake in Massachusetts. CHARGOGGAGOGGMANCHUGGA. Anyway, it keeps on going. So it is 44 or 45 letters, I forget. But the abbreviated name is only 17 letters. Hey, only 17. And Chowabunga Amunga, something like that. But it's also known as Webster's Lake, okay? I think I would call it Webster's Lake. It's in the town of Webster, Massachusetts, located near the Connecticut border, surface area of 1,442 acres. And so, anyway, it's also called Webster Lake. So I think I would use that. But anyway, could you imagine why in the world would somebody name something with 85 letters long, except to say, okay, we have the longest one. So anyway, did you know that? I didn't. So, all right, a joke. We've used a lot of different kind today. A cat joke. Oh, cat joke, cat pictures. Sorry. A cat joke. This is an old one. If you've heard it, just bear with me, but it's sort of cute. All right. It's called How to Wash the Cat. How to wash the cat. So first, thoroughly clean the toilet. Next, by the way, this is a joke. Please don't try this at home and get PETA after me that I recommended this. This is a joke. Ding, ding. It is a joke. Here we go. All right. How to wash the cat. Number 1, thoroughly clean the toilet. Number 2, add the required amount of shampoo to the toilet water and have both lids lifted. Number 3, obtain the cat and soothe him while you carry him toward the toilet. Number 4, in one smooth movement, place the cat in the toilet and close both lids. You may need to stand on the lid so that he cannot escape. Caution, do not get any part of your body too close to the edge, as his paws will be reaching out for anything they can find. The cat will self-agitate and make ample suds. Never mind the noises that come from the toilet. The cat is actually enjoying this. Number 5, flush the toilet 3 or 4 times. This provides a power wash and rinse, which I have found to be quite effective. Number 6, have someone open the door to the outside and ensure that there are no people between the toilet and the door. Number 7, stand behind the toilet as far as you can and quickly lift both lids. Number 8, now the clean cat will rocket out of the toilet, run outside where he will dry himself off. Sincerely, the dog. Sincerely, the dog. So please don't try that. That would be cruelty to animals. And so I have never done that. Never would do that, but it's okay, I think, to make a joke about. All right, so things that I love. Just thinking about this, I love heaven. Boy, to love heaven. To get there and see Jesus, to get there and see our loved ones. We just lost a dear man from our church who passed away. I did the memorial service last night. I was thinking about him and thinking about heaven. And boy, something you got to love. You got to love heaven. And the opposite of that, things I hate, of course, that would be hell. That would be hell. A lake of torment. A place, a literal place where people that die without Christ burn forever and ever. It's a big deal. Hate that place. All right, main thought for the day. What if my spouse does not want to fix our marriage? Honestly, I'd say most, probably half of my marriage counseling starts off this way, either by phone or in person. Pastor, what do I do? Our marriage needs help, but my spouse does not want to get it fixed. My spouse does not want to come to counsel. Probably half of my counsel started like that. And so what I would do is give them a quick help. All right, here's what you do to try to get your spouse in. Most of the time it worked right away. Sometimes it would take a few months. So I thought I'd put that together and to be able to teach on that. There may be somebody listening, or you may know someone who's struggling with a marriage. You may want to send them this podcast so maybe we can help them with their marriage. When marriage is right, it's awesome. It's heaven on earth. When marriage is not right, it's the opposite of that. It literally feels like hell on earth. So what if my spouse does not want to fix our marriage? Number 1, don't give up. Don't give up, okay? Decide it. We're going to fix our marriage. Problems are made to be fixed. It's like that X in algebra, okay? X, there is an answer. We can find it. All we have to do is work the equation, and we will find the answer for X. Number 1, decide, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on our marriage. You decide that. If just one person in the marriage is willing to stand and do what needs to be done, that marriage can be salvaged. And we've seen it so many times. Number 2, decide we will get counsel. You need to get counsel. You need to get counsel and do whatever it takes to get them to get counsel. The problems won't just go away. They won't be fixed by themselves. It's like the car, the brakes on the car, they're squeaking. Oh yeah, it'll go away. Yeah, your rotor will go away. You'll destroy it, okay? It's not going to get fixed by itself. You need counsel. You need help. You need to fix it at a higher level than where you're at. If it's that bad and you're not able to fix it, you need to go to a different level so you can get that marriage fixed. Decide we are going to get counsel. Now, here's a disclaimer for this teaching. If you aren't willing to do whatever it takes, then you really don't want to fix your marriage. So it'd probably be best not to keep listening. Honestly, I don't want to offend you, make you mad. If you're not willing to do whatever it takes to fix your marriage, then please don't keep listening because you're going to be mad at what I'm going to tell you. Now, what I'm going to tell you works. I've been doing this for 30 years. I know it works. I've seen so many people use this, and the spouse comes in for counseling, and now we're able to help them. So I'd love to help. But if you're like, I'm not willing to do whatever it takes, then don't listen because you're not going to like it. So you need to say, look, my marriage is worth it. For the kids' sake, it's worth it. For God's sake, it's worth it. For my sake, for my marriage sake, it's worth it. We're going to fix it, and I am willing to do whatever I need to do to get this fixed. Okay, a lot of verses in the Bible about counsel. Proverbs 11:14, where no counsel is, the people fall. Proverbs 12:15, he that hearkeneth the counsel is wise. Proverbs 15:22, without counsel, purposes are disappointed. Proverbs 19:20, hear counsel and receive instruction. On and on and on and on. We need counsel. So what's the most important thing that we have in life? What is the most important thing that we have in life? Our house, our car, our plumbing, our electricity? It's amazing. When any of those things break down, we call someone to fix it. We call the carpenter. We call the mechanic. We call the plumber. We call the electrician. But yet when our marriage or our family breaks down, we don't call someone to fix that. Which is more important? Listen, I guarantee you your marriage is way more important than any of those things. Now, be careful on getting a counselor. I've talked to so many people that had a counselor, and I hear the advice that they gave them, and I just shudder and shake. Horrible, horrible advice. Be very careful about getting a counselor. Number one, the first person I think that you want to get a counselor is your pastor. In person is the best. One, with the pastor, in the office, eye to eye, face to face with your pastor. I think personally that's the best person that you can counsel with. Now, to be honest, these days, a lot of pastors don't do counseling. A lot of pastors aren't good at it, and they don't do it. I've heard many pastors say nowadays, I give you counsel every Sunday during church. That's my counsel. Take that. And many of them do not. They don't think they're qualified, or they don't like it, or they don't care, or they don't have time. For whatever reason, many pastors are just not doing counseling. But I think that's the first one. Number two, a good Christian counselor. A good Christian counselor. Now be careful. If they're paid by the hour, there's not an incentive to fix the problems. If they fix it, then they lose a client. All right. And so you got to be careful that you're not getting into something that's just going to be a long-term ongoing. Yep, we've been in counseling for 3 years, but they never really fixed the problems. You want to fix them. That's why with what we work with, it's called Fixed Families, because we want to fix the problems. I don't have time to keep meeting with some couple for 20 times, and they don't need that. They need the tools. They need the ability to fix the problem, especially show them how to fix it themselves, so you can go on and take care of other things. And so be careful about a good Christian counselor, because if they don't have an incentive to fix it, they may just want to put Band-Aids on it, keep you coming. How do you feel about that? And how does that make you feel? And what do you think about that? Okay, thanks for coming. We'll see you next week. Okay, and you feel good talking to somebody, but you haven't fixed anything. Problems are made to be fixed, okay? Number three, use your pastor first, or Christian counselor, or someone online through Zoom. It's amazing with this medium of being able to turn on a computer and see clearly and hear someone clearly all across the country or the world. It makes it very easy to do things like this. As you know, they're doing telemedicine now. I mean, full medicine just over a computer. And so definitely you can do marriage counseling that way. So number one, decide I'm not giving up. Number two, say we are going to get counsel. Number three, say, hey, those 2 parts aren't bad. I agree with that. Number three, are you ready? That's what I said. You got to be willing to do anything. We're trying to get them to get into counsel. Understand. Always understand the end of the matter. What do we want to happen? We want our spouse to be willing to come with us to sit down with a counselor and get help. All right, so how do we get that to happen? Number three, put it on yourself. Humble yourself. Proverbs 15:33, before honor is humility. James 4:6, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace to the humble. You need to humble yourself. Put it on yourself. Say something like this. Honey, I know I'm not the best husband that I should be. I would like to go and get counsel. Will you come with me to let the counselor know what I need to work on and what I need to change so the counselor can help me? Amen. Put it on yourself. That many times, I'd say 80% of the time, just that is willing to work. Okay, yeah, I'll come, and I'll be glad to tell him what you need to work on. He may say, or she may say, well, I can just tell you myself. I mean, I really think I need a counselor to be able to put it in a way, because I know I'm not the best husband or wife, but they professional and they work with us. Would you come with me so we could help? Then tell the counselor that. Let him know you may have a hostile person to counsel. Honestly, many times I've had the spouse call me and say, okay, they're willing to come, but they think they're just coming to help me. That's great. And that's what we're going to deal with. But in the meantime, it's my job as a counselor to win them over and to help them. You get them there, God and I will do the rest. That's been my plan. A wise counselor can win them to himself and then be able to help him end the marriage. I've had hostile spouses that are only there to fix him or her, but before it was over, they told me honestly that they were a lot of the problem and that they could help some things also, okay? It is amazing how many times that happens. It may not happen the first visit, but it happens. The brokenness, you break down the problems, and you're able to fix things. And the honesty comes with that. So when I counsel people, I don't tell them much of anything, especially at first. There's a few phrases that advice not asked for is seldom heeded and often resented. If you convince someone against their will, they're of the same opinion still. So they may disagree with what I tell them, but they will never disagree with what they tell themselves. So my job as a counselor to win them over to ask the right questions so they realize they need to work on some things also. Okay? Big understanding here, but that's what's done. Oh, you're not going to get anywhere. I'm not going to tell them what to do. I'm going to ask them questions, and they're going to tell me what they need to do and what they can work on. So put it on yourself. Be willing to humble yourself. Number 5, win them with your conversation. Win them with your conversation. Now, this may be the long game, okay? By the way, is it worth it to do something like this for 6 months to be able to have an opportunity to fix your marriage? The answer is yes, okay? Life is a long time, more than 6 months. Women, you win women with love. Men, you win men with respect. So longer teaching, but just quickly. 1 Peter 3:1. I'm just going to skip around. You can read the whole thing, 1 through 6. The Bible says that men without the word will be won by the conversation of the wife, while they behold your chaste conversation. Chaste means held back, reserved. There are many things you could say, and maybe they deserve to be said, but they're not going to help. If what you say isn't going to help, then why say it? Well, I need to get it off my chest. Okay, you're not trying to fix it. You're just trying to feel good about you. No, that's not going to help. Chase conversation. There's so many times I've said things like, oh boy, I just set my wife up. She could hit this out of the park. Wow, I'm glad she didn't say what she could have said. Chase conversation coupled with fear. Whose adorning, let it be the hidden man of the heart, it goes on to say. The ornament of a meek and quiet spirit. The adorning, what makes this person beautiful? Women, your husband will be won by your conversation. The ornament of a meek and quiet spirit. When marriages are in problems, is that usually the way we handle things? No, it usually gets loud and upset. Meek and quiet spirit, God said adorning themselves, being in subjection to their own husbands, like Sarah called Abraham Lord. Go read that, 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 through 6. Read that and understand and see what they're talking about. God said the men, even if they don't believe in God, can be won over by the conversation. The conversation is more than just your words. It's what you're conveying, conversing, okay? I may not say anything, but if you're watching on video, you can see, I just rolled my eyes. I didn't say anything, but I said something. I conveyed something by my conversation, by my attitude, by my manner of life, okay? And women, God said your husband can be won by the conversation of the wife. I know a marriage, and the husband pulled his wife away from church and away from God, and she was still getting counsel from my wife and I, trying to help her what to do, and she was doing the things we told her. One day her husband said, honey, boy, you've been so good to me. Whatever you want, you name it, whatever you want, I'll do it. And she said, I want to go back to church as a family, to our church. He said, done. What happened? It took a while. But she won him over by her conversation, okay? So men, if it's your wife that doesn't want to get help, what do you do, okay? How will you win her? By love. God said in 1 Peter 3:7, we're to dwell with our wives according to knowledge. Oh, you can't know women. I understand that's the joke, but God said we're to dwell with them according to knowledge. So if he tells us to dwell according to knowledge, then obviously we need to know, and we can understand women. Ephesians 5:33, nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. Men, when you love your wife like Christ loved the church, Ephesians 5, when you love her like you love yourself, you're going to win her over, and she's going to be willing to come and get help. So, ladies, you win them by love. Men, you win them by respect. And what you do is shock and awe. You go from one day to being your normal self, which I'm sure is a good person, but not the spouse that they would love to have. One day from that way to the most amazing, perfect wife, husband, like, okay, what happened? What'd you do with my husband? Did somebody take him? What'd you do with my wife? That's not the normal person. Why are you doing this? And so it needs to be a shock and awe. How do you do that? Brainstorm everything you would need to do to be the best husband, best wife to your spouse. All right, men, write it down. Get a paper out. All right, God, help me. What would I need to change? What would I need to do to be the best husband my wife could ever have? Write them down. Write them down. Men, to be more thoughtful, loving, sweet, kind. Do the dishes. Do the laundry. Do the vacuum. Do the dishes. Okay. By the way, the Bible does say, as a man wipeth a dish. Okay. Ladies, I wouldn't recommend you put that on a plaque and hang it in the kitchen, but there's nothing wrong. Your hand will fit a dish also. Your wife, when you do this, she's going to go, what happened to you? What did you do? Nothing, honey. I just realized I'm not being the husband. Well, I'll tell you what to say in a minute. Wives, same thing. Cook his favorite meal. Bring him breakfast in bed. Keep the house clean. Make the bedroom fun. Give him a massage. Things that you know he likes that you don't normally do. So much so, shock and awe, he has to go, all right, what's going on? What's going on? Then when you do that, okay, this is going to sound different, and I don't like to say it, but I'm telling you why. Again, what's our goal? Our end goal is to get them into counseling to fix the marriage. Amen? That's our goal. That's what we're working on. That's what we need to do, okay? So what will it take to get there? This long game here is to live and be the best that you can be so they're willing to come and get some help. And so when they say, why are you doing this? Why are you being this way? Then say, I've been listening to a counselor, and he's been helping me to be the best husband or the best wife that I can be. He's been helping me. Here's the one I wanted you to go to so he could help us in our marriage. Now, what are they going to think of the counselor? Now, what are they going to think about getting counseling? Hey, honey, would you still be willing to come with me? I think there's more he can help me with if you're there with me because I don't know even everything I need to do. What happened? We now want him over. We want him over. You want him over with what you did, and now the counselor gets a chance to help him because you're, quote, giving the counselor the reason why you're doing it is because of him. Again, it's not about the counselor, but we need the counselor to help put that together, and that's what you want to say. I've told ladies for years that come to church single, and they go, oh, my husband won't come to church. My husband won't come to church. All right, here's what you do. You're making the best breakfast he could ever have. Best breakfast in bed. Hey, honey, when I come home from church, I've got this meal. It's already in the crock pot. It's ready to go. You're going to love it. Make him the best lunch you could ever have. Don't make him say, well, I got to go to church. You're on your own for lunch. Really? Oh, he's going to love you going to church, isn't he? Okay? Make the best meals ever on Sunday. And when you come home from church, anything the preacher said that he would have liked, tell him. Tell him. Even if it's against you. Anything the preacher said that was funny, tell him. Anything he wouldn't like, don't tell him. Anything that would, oh, by the way, the preacher got all over you this morning. He said you need to be this and this and this and this. Oh, that's going to make him love the church and the preacher. But when you tell him just the good things he would like and the funny things he would like, guess what he says? You do that a few weeks in a row, he's going to have to go check out this preacher. And now you got him in church, and now God can work on his heart to win him over. That's the same thing we're doing here, okay? We're using this to get them to counsel so you can fix the problems. You say, well, they don't deserve that. Okay, so what does that have to do with it? I'm not massaging him. I'm not doing a special thing for him. He doesn't deserve it. Okay. Remember in the beginning, I said, if you're not willing to do whatever it takes to fix a marriage, don't keep going. Why are you listening? Yeah, he doesn't deserve it. No, she doesn't deserve it. That's not what we're talking about. By the way, we all deserve hell. Only by God's mercy, He saved us by grace through faith. We don't deserve it. We're not trying to do it because they deserve it. We're trying to do it because we're trying to fix a marriage. So do it. Do it. We're trying to let them see that God can work in our life to be a better spouse, and we can work together to have a better marriage. That's what we want. And it will work. Shock and awe. Go from one day to the next. Trying to do everything you can to be the best spouse. They can see this. Number 5, sorry, it might get worse before it gets better. It might get worse. It might get worse before it gets better. How come? The devil is the one that's fighting. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. Devil's going to fight and work all he can to try to blow this thing up. So when he sees you working on it, he may fight harder. It may get worse before it gets better. Write this down. When it happens, you know, yep, they warned me. They warned me. Realize who your enemy is. It's not flesh and blood. Satan fights harder when he knows he's losing. Okay? Then get with a counselor anyway. Clean your side of the window. This isn't a perfect example if you're watching the video, but imagine you're on one side of the window and they're on the other side. You just got married. It's sparkling. It's crystal. You see beauty and everything about the person you love. But through the years, what happens? You do and say some things you shouldn't. It puts dirt on your side of the window. they do and say some things they shouldn't. It puts dirt on their side of the window, and it keeps building up. And now after 5, 10, 15, 20 years, all you see is what? The dirt. You can barely see through it, and you say, I just don't love them anymore. No, get with a counselor anyway. Clean your side of the window. You do what you can. You do what you can to help turn this thing around. Read marriage books anyway. Take a marriage course anyway. Get counsel for yourself anyway. Let God see you doing all you can. Hopefully they will see their need. Remember, this is all to better you, not to criticize them. Many times when you've been so good, they can't help but change. Romans 2:4, God talks about the goodness of God leadeth thee to repentance. Sometimes God is just so good to us, we don't deserve it, and that leads us to repent and turn things right. When you're being the best husband and wife possible, it will lead them to turn around. Again, this might take a while, but it's worth it. Number 7, ask God to turn their heart. I love this verse, Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart. The king is the ultimate authority. No one tells the king what to do. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord as rivers of waters. He turneth it, the heart, whithersoever he will. Can God turn your husband's heart? Absolutely. Can God turn your wife's heart? Absolutely. Nebuchadnezzar, who was king of the world at the time, God humbled him. God turned him into a beast for 7 years. No, God can humble any man. Ask God to turn their heart. Now, to do that, you need to be close to God. If I regard iniquity in my heart, the Lord will not hear me. I need to go confess my sins, get close to God, and then beg God, please turn the heart of my husband or the heart of my wife. And number 8, if all that doesn't work, then it might take a godly sorrow. This is whatever it takes. 2 Corinthians 7:10, for godly sorrow worketh repentance. Sometimes God will bring a sorrow into our life that will work for us to change our life. That's what happened to me. I became a preacher because I got tired of all the godly sorrow. He was sending my way all the pain, the suffering, the spanking. Okay, I'll preach, I'll surrender. And now I got a great life. I'm glad I did. Many times God will use that. God, whatever it takes, bring them that godly sorrow. And when it happens, don't run from it. Realize God's answering your prayer. Now, if you need a one-on-one counsel, even if your spouse isn't ready for it, I would still love to talk to you and would love to help you. Here's a free gift for today, a free one-on-one marriage counseling. Free one-on-one marriage counseling. Go to Fix Families Institute, fixfamilies.com, fixfamiliesinstitute.com. And when you get there, if you're watching on video, you'll see this short little video, and there'll be this video recorded. You can watch in there again if you want to, on what if my spouse does not want to fix our marriage. And then scroll down a little bit, and there's a place for a free one-on-one marriage coaching session. Click there. There's an application. Fill out the application. Let me know what's going on. And then when you get done and submit the application, a calendar will come up where you can set up a one-on-one free with me to help. Okay? So that's your gift for the day. What if my spouse does not want to fix our marriage? Give you a lot of things, and hopefully and prayerfully that can help you. It's a horrible thing when a marriage isn't going well. It's an awesome thing when the marriage is. We'd love to be able to help that. So go to fixfamiliesinstitute.com and scroll down and click free one-on-one marriage coaching session. All right. And in ending, we want to tell you this. Be kind to everyone, because everyone's having a tough time. In one way or another, something in their life is tough and going on. Be kind to everyone. And until next time, get wisdom for your life. It is the principal thing. God bless you.
Thank you for listening to the Wisdom for Life podcast. If you have any questions for us, email us at askpastorbaker@gmail.com, and we will answer them in an upcoming podcast. The email is askpastorbaker@gmail.com.